All right, so what we're gonna do is we're going to do a, you want a medium, low skin fade?
Medium.
Medium is fine, okay. Medium drop?
Yeah.
Yeah, medium drop, okay. So if I'm going to do a medium drop on a hair that's this thick, I'm going to use 1.5 to debulk. You always want to debulk the hair when you're doing any type of skin fade to make your life easier. If you guys notice, I'm gonna go drop it down a little bit just to debulk. This is the area that I'm gonna do skin and I'm gonna blend, so you wanna debulk the area so that way it's easier for you to just blend the 0 to the 1.5 rather than a 0 to whatever length that he had when he first came in. So after you debulk first, if you notice, I'm not taking all of it out, I'm just making some space, but I'm leaving the rest of the hair so that way I could use the contrast of the hair at the bottom. And all right, so now because he wanted a medium skin fade, don't be afraid. Medium skin fade, it's literally on the eyebrow. And because he wanted like a mid drop means it's medium on the sides, but then it drops a little, not too much on the back.
You can leave it at that. I'll shave it up anyway. Okay. Thank you.
So first steps are always is half. We're gonna do a half, which is finger width. Don't be afraid to give yourself space when you're cutting hair, because if you do it too thin, too skinny, and it's hard to blend it out, it's gonna be too dark. And then little by little 4 times just to fade this out. And then once you fade that out, we have to make sure that the first half and the 0 blends all the way. And then next step will be one open. If you notice on my metal machine, 1.5 is one open in plastics. So technically we're just kind of extending this area here. Make sure that you don't cut the long hair. And then we're gonna close it all the way, the 1, and we're gonna take it a little bit under the 1 open. So it's half, delete the half with the 0, and there's 1 open, and then 1 close, and then 1/16. The only times you take the 1/16, you put the level 4 times, is with the half and with the 1/16 guard, or you can call it a half guard. You're gonna take the half guard open right where you took the 1 close. So you're gonna repeat the process but with a different guard, which is 1/16 or a half guard. And now you're gonna close it little by little 4 times until you get this line out. If there's a dark spot on certain people, I like to kind of tackle that. Maybe go a little bit higher with using the corner of the clipper, and then continue with the rest of the haircut with the whole clipper. Then you're gonna close it again. And you're gonna really just focus on that dark spot using the corner, and then continue with the rest normal. Then once you go, now I'm all the way to the top, I'm just gonna hit just the bottom. Once you do that, it's already blending. Now I'm gonna do 4, 3, 2. So I'm gonna grab 4, ignore this line, or we're gonna just, give yourself a good space like that. 4, because inside the 4 you're gonna do 3, 2, 1.5, which is how you start it. In this situation, he has an undercut, so we're trying to blend all this as best as we can. So we're gonna use the 4 in the air, let the hair fall on and blend itself. If you guys notice, when I scoop it out, I literally go slow. The slow is the new fast. Then you do 3 right under the 4, right? Right below the 4. And then you do 2. And guess what? We go back down, we connect with the 1.5. That's how we started. Sometimes it'll blend, sometimes it won't. Once you do a 2, but then in this situation it's still there a little bit. So we're gonna grab a 1.5 and just polish that little last line. Just kind of keep hitting it. And then 1 open. So now we do 1 open. Just to polish the last part. 1 open is how we started technically. Boom. And then you remove the remaining hair, or you could do it first. You could just take the hair off. It doesn't matter, but this is the way I do it. Take all this off. And then shaver. The shaver, you take it a little. Once you're about to reach the line, the first line you made, you're gonna flick out. If you do make a line and you take it too tight to the line, you're gonna have to tap down.
No, I'm good, thank you very much.
Boom, and just like that, it's blended. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, for real. So now same steps, nothing changes. I don't change anything. We're gonna do finger width and start fading it out. Half, remove the half. Same thing, 1/16. So first 1 open, 1 close, and then 1/16. Little by little, 4 times. Once you finish doing that, boom, next number. You have to continue to move as you go. You can't stay doing stay stuck. And obviously here this was an undercut, so technically all of this would have been a 4, but he has an undercut, so we're gonna try to blend our best here. We're gonna cut a shoulder anyway, so it's gonna look good once we're done. But for the most part, this is what I would do. 4, which is this whole area will be a 4. 3, 2. You notice, go in there, but still at the end you're gonna go straight, so that way it doesn't make this hard line. Make sure it's cutting and it's blending and it's doing something. 2, 1.5, right on the line, and then 1 open, just how we started. Okay, now that it's blended, we'll quickly go and remove all this, or in your situation you might have already removed it. But in my situation, I like to remove it at the end. Just helps with the contrast. It helps me see lines to blend it faster and better. You notice, you see how I keep moving? I make sure every step that I do it correctly. I do it slow, as in I go in and make sure that it's actually doing something. You don't want to just pass a clipper and it's not doing anything. You have to make sure when you do anything that you do, it has to have a result. Now that you do that, next stop. All right, so after you do the blending here, is what we focus first. Then we're gonna blend this into the 4. Okay, obviously this was an undercut, so it's not gonna show too much of a 4. But if it was somebody that had no undercut, you're gonna blend the scissors into the 4. All right, so this is gonna make it easier. Okay, so for this situation, somebody wants it like a messy look short, we're gonna use texture powder. This is perfect for a little bit of volume, or you can use fiber clay. The difference between this and fiber clay is this one is more dry look, super dry. It's gonna give volume, or the fiber clay will be just bringing out more of the texture while providing a little volume. This is a lot of volume, and fiber clay is a little volume.